Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Janine and I are here together. We're really excited, and we're going to be talking about kind of esoteric things today. And we're going to call this series The Pulse. And we're really excited about it because we're going to get to share things that we probably don't all. I mean, I talk about this stuff a lot, but
Yeah.
Janine is going to get to do fun things that she's going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Fun, esoteric, weird things. So, the first thing we're going to get into today is the ETs. And we introduced that when we were in Ireland together. And I'm talking to my higher self, and I'm just going to give you some of the things that have come in from my higher self. And then Janine is going to have a question later, and I will tap in, like, raw with whatever question she has. So the ETs really want to contact us, and I've been seeing them on like a big screen. So either that's going to be the television, and I feel like it'll probably be with Trump. Um, but they really want to contact us. I feel like we're getting very close to that. And it's going to explain a lot of things. So, what's been happening on Earth, what Earth actually looks like, and also tech will really rapidly come out that we've been missing out on. So the world will change very quickly as soon as we have first contact. So that's what I've been getting.
hmm
And I want to see what Janine gets with her cards because it's going to expand everything.
hmm I've been getting a lot of that, what you're saying, honey,
Mm-hmm.
in lots of polls, and in particular, this three-eye atlas, just even the coming of it, whether it's actual or is it part of the theater or is it
Right.
universal theater? Like, is whatever it is, it's bringing the general population into the conversation. I feel like it's important, regardless what it actually does or doesn't do. It is quite far away from Earth, so of course, right? And we're
Yeah.
not sure like exactly what we're looking at or getting, but I feel like it's really just starting the conversation on a really global scale. What do you
Mhm.
think of that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I did a show with Richard the other day and we talked about it. And I'm like, this is the introduction because they're doing weird things with it. NASA is showing very interesting things like
Yeah.
stopping and disappearing. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay,
Now,
what's your plan with
NASA,
that?
that's pretty interesting. NASA, like, so the world's biggest staged
Oh, yeah.
BS show, that's a
Mhm.
theater. But it is interesting because I feel like it was White Hat Alliance taken over some time ago. So I
Mhm.
don't think it is run by the same people. They all quit. I feel
Yeah.
like or they were fired. I feel like we've got a whole, they're using all of the infrastructure of NASA for something totally different. And
Mhm.
so it makes it interesting that NASA is sort of leading the way with the information about Three Eye Atlas. Like, it's fascinating.
I think so too. Yeah. It's really fun to watch right now.
Fast and furious. Things are happening fast and furious. This guy's really interesting because he's intuitive, but he's also intellectually bright. So he uses his instinct, intuitive knowing, but also his intellect, and goes fast into something. So he never misses. Like, he's not going to be sleeping on the job or sleepwalking through life. So energetically, things are happening fast and furious, and it's both intuitive and we're learning things at the same time and getting truth at the same time. And then it's coupled with this moving out of troubled water. So certainly, like we've both been talking about, everything that's happening right now is setting up for more information fast. So
Mhm.
information, things that have been hidden from us. This guy moves out of, if you see here, he's moving out of choppy water, moving
Mhm.
his whole family out of, or maybe the whole family of humanity, out of not knowing into knowing something. So there's clarity with that card. We're getting clarity and it's coming fast, and it's both intuitive knowing. So a lot of us are picking up on it intuitively, but also literally intellectually, we're learning truths about. So this, it's all about truths about, and I don't think they can hold it back. I feel like it's coming, whether governments like it or not. Doesn't matter who doesn't like it. You know, the bad guys that have been repressing us and repressing knowledge, doesn't matter. It's coming anyway. It's timely.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that too. It feels very intense. And also, the energies are really intense that are pushing us to be like ready for it, basically. So, meditation about ETs, imagining that you see ETs on the TV screen and what does that mean to you, that will actually help manifest it faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, well,
So,
ever since I had that little connection with that, what seemed like an ET sort of touching my hand through a window, first in my car and then later in my house, like almost, well, it seemed like it came right through the window. I feel like I'm not a bit, first of all, I'm not a bit afraid.
mhm,
Secondly, I'm feeling like once we just open up to it, people that are, you need good boundaries, but at the same time staying open with good boundaries. I know that's a bit of a trick, but important.
mhm.
And just know what you're willing to be a party to. And I feel like those people ready like that, they'll see these energies, entities, or they probably already are. Actually, maybe they have been since childhood.
Yeah, I feel like for people, especially like in the older age group, like is me and you, we kind of probably saw all kinds of stuff as kids and then we blocked it out.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see it again. We're just starting to allow it again. And it's like the brain has to decalcify,
Mm.
practically like come back to itself and allow us to see that again.
Yeah.
Because we only see like less than 1% of the light spectrum, but it's really cool what's happening for humanity right now. And we're starting to see more and more things. And I had an ET show up in the bedroom and I woke up to her and I was super rude, actually. I was like, what are your intentions? That's what I asked her. And she was probably 20 feet tall. She was all crouched down. She looked like a combination of a humanoid and a deer, and
Mm.
it was just beautiful, just completely silver. And she had this huge like rack that looked kind of like the tree of life on her head.
Mm.
And I was woke up and I said, what are your intentions? And of course she's like, I'm out of here. So she left. But it's really interesting how we react. So preparing the nervous system is really important. So I'm really glad that you already had that experience where they actually touched you. And also it wasn't a big one, because my husband saw a pretty small ET and he wasn't intimidated. And I
Mm.
think so this is for the ETs. Small ETs showing up is easier for us than ETs that are twice our size
Yeah.
for a first time visit.
Yeah. I did have an interesting, now that you mention it, in my room, and it was maybe 5 years, 6 years, just before the pandemic
Mhm.
lockdowns. Like, so but 6 years ago. And I had been talking to this guy. He called himself Egyptian priest. And in Calgary, he had a lot of people, if you're from Calgary, you might know who I'm talking about. He's kind of an infamous guy. And he runs this belly dancing paraphernalia shop. So all kinds of costumes and a sort of really tacky Egyptian stuff. And it's top, ceiling to floor, like full of stuff, just like if you did go to an Egyptian shop in Egypt. Like, and this guy's like legit from Egypt, but he's absolutely like a bit of a con artist, in my humble opinion. So what he was doing was all of these women, and they were all like really kind of Karen-y types. Excuse the term, and
Mhm.
sorry, I do have some great friends named Karen, so no offense meant. I'm just trying to get you guys the idea of what I'm talking about, and real nerdy types, and definitely sheeple. And like I wouldn't have called them that then because we weren't talking like that back then. But these women, there was a whole group of them. I happened in on it, but there was a whole group of them, and he was telling them, weaving these tales, but he was using a whole bunch of Christian language. So he was kind of pretending he was Christian and adding a whole bunch of Jesus language and stuff. But if you just looked beneath what he was saying, because I think he was trying to appeal to them, or that was his sort of scheme.
Mhm.
It was deep. He was weaving deep Egyptian, I think, dark magic. And I right away, and he kept commenting and looking at over at me that the tarot was evil and stuff. Interesting because they sell tarot cards in that shop, so I found that interesting, and incense and all kinds of things in there, but no, tarot's evil. And he just kept like repeating and repeating these things. It was almost like he was putting these women in a trance. And then he smudged everybody, but I call it smudging, but he was using incense. I think it was that resin type, really. They
Mm.
use it in church a lot. I forget what it's called. At Easter time. People in
Oh,
the
okay.
audience might know what I'm talking about. But anyway, and he was like clearing them. He was really talking a lot about their sexual energy, like. These were all women around my age group, so I'm in my 60s. So it was quite humorous to see their little faces, like, and he was making them spread their legs and smudging between. Yeah, it was. So I don't know
Wow.
where the group came from, but they were all listening, hanging on his every word. And I was just like, wow, this guy's got these guys in a trance. He was about 70 or so anyway, himself. Fascinating guy, but just a real magician. Okay, after I left that day and that night, ice, like what I thought was Isis, the goddess Isis, came into my room and lit the whole room up. But now, in retrospect, I think it was an alien because it was a winged creature with like a bird head. But I assumed because I've been in that shop and I was thinking a lot about this Egyptian guy and what really kind of magic was he? What it was he kind of spell casting on these women? I found it fascinating, and I definitely had to protect my energy from his while I was in the shop. But I'm a
Mhm.
curious George and a bit of a spy, so I had to be like listening in on like I was, and
Yeah.
he knew, and that's why he kept mentioning like, and he was intuitive, and he knew I was a tarot card reader anyway. So when that night, this my whole room lit up and all the walls disappeared, and
Mhm.
it was like an orb of light and energy, and this winged creature just lifted its wings. I saw that it had a bird head, but again, assuming it was Isis, and then poof, just disappeared. And I was like, wow, just came to visit. But that was, I think that was an alien. I think that was an other dimensional anyway.
Yeah, I would say it was an other dimensional, but so I've seen that in the astral plane, and it was somebody that I knew. It was their soul, but they were in that garb, and they did have wings too, and they had the bird, beak. And they were rifling through things in the Akashic records that were not supposed to be messed with. And I remember that and kind of like being like, what are you doing? asking what they were doing, and then they just ran away. But I think that the Egyptian time was a really intense time. It was a time where a lot of the souls that have been keeping Earth captured were really active, and they were active here on the Earth plane, and they showed up that way with bird beaks and wings, and they showed up as other dimensionals, and they liked that garb. And they really, like, they were marrying each other. They were doing weird stuff in Egypt. They were sisters and brothers were getting married. There
Mhm.
was all kinds of like twisted genetic things going on. So that really was probably somebody trying to warn you,
Mhm.
and it wasn't probably nice. So you holding your ground was really important there, because these beings, they don't exist anymore, but 5 years ago they certainly did.
Mhm.
And they would do almost anything to get kind of abuse the people that were here to change everything.
Mhm.
So that was like a close encounter, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't necessarily feel friendly, that's for sure.
Mhm.
It felt more like a warning would make sense because it was very intense and sharp. There was an edge to
Yeah.
it, especially when it lifted its wings up and then just poof disappeared. I felt like that guy was connected somehow or was overseen or being used. So the Egyptian guy was being used or handled or channeled through by this being. And it
Exactly.
saw me in the place listening to what it was doing and also judging it and or also seeing right through the BS that was going on.
Hmm.
I'm assuming that guy was charging these guys for these readings he was doing and this kind of energy trance. He had them all in. I'm
I think
assuming he
so.
got some money for doing that or whatever, clearing their energy with this resin. But yeah, and then throwing in all those Christian words. I thought that was fascinating. It's just real double speak was going on. And the fact
Hmm.
that I saw through it, I felt like that guy's handler energetically probably didn't like that I saw through them.
No, because there was a lot of black magic and a lot of blood magic, and
Mm.
also sex magic in
Hmm.
Egypt. So Egyptian stuff is really thick, and
Yeah.
it's been being cleared over the last 5 years, but there's still stuff now that needs to
Mm.
continuously be cleared. So we have layers and layers of societies
Mm.
that need to be cleared. So
Hmm.
we're all
So
doing that.
you're feeling like a lot of this stuff has left our
Yeah.
atmosphere. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, and we could draw cards on it if you want, but I think that being that showed up in your room and that I saw in the Akashic records is actually gone now.
Mm. Okay. We'll do the one you saw first.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So the judgment card, that's a wake up call. So it must have been really intense,
Hmm.
whatever was that. And they looked like they were kind of freaked out because that card is waking the dead. So because of the people waking up, I feel like they were doing something to protect themselves. This guy protects himself and he's looking for safety.
Hmm.
I feel like maybe they got there was some fear that because of the amount of people waking up, they had to protect something in those records or literally, and it could have something to do with the origins of mankind. It could have something to do with so whatever they were trying to mess with there. I feel like they felt threatened. This card's very
Hmm.
threatening and they were trying to protect something, some knowledge about the origins of mankind, maybe even trying to keep us in the dark. This guy's a little bit behind in his. He's not the smartest knight, he's less quick than the rest, and I feel like they've really dumbed us down. Maybe they were trying to protect from us knowing just how wise and magical we really are, and it was threatening to them if we found that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Do you want to do yours? Like if it was a warning?
Sure, yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. Interesting. I read it as a feminine, but it was a masculine according to this card. It was masculine, so it's a real trickster, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Visually, it had the feeling of a feminine, and warning of things coming. So it looked like it was warning of going in a direction. So I was going in a direction, or this guy's really curious and he's looking into things spiritually, and but he's just at the beginning of it. Okay, so there may be warning me not to go in the direction I was going in with it. So
Mhm.
not to further explore what I was really thinking a lot about, like I'm like that, like I had that experience, and everything to me is like a sign, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
spirit world's always talking to me. And I thought I walked in there on purpose to understand something. I was trying to understand, and I didn't know about all the things I know about now. I didn't know about the spiritual war that was already started by then. I didn't know about the demonic part of, like, I knew there was bad and evil people, but definitely not to the extent I do now. and
Mhm.
and all the, like, the overlords maybe even being alien, and like the real upper echelon of that demonic energy is actually coming from other dimensions slash other planets, or however you want to talk
Mhm.
about it. And I feel like I was meddling and just starting to figure it out for myself, and they were trying to get me off the path, or like,
Yeah.
because when the wings came up, it did feel threatening for sure.
Mhm. And it was, I think. It was don't discover, don't get out there and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool that you did it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you have a question that you wanted to bring up today about like the world or spirituality or anything? Did you have anything that you wanted to?
I got so many things. Like, I could keep you there for hours. Fascinating.
It is
But the
fascinating.
biggest the biggest thing I wanted to know, and I know I kind of a repeat about 3-1 Atlas or 3-eye Atlas. Um, so I'm wondering if, so what I got last night about it was there were entities on it, and I've heard that you don't necessarily go along with, there's energies coming with it. Maybe it's more of
No, I do.
oh, you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But what my thing I was getting last night, and I couldn't figure out what it was saying to me, but like there was that Draco type alien were on it at the beginning when it started out,
Hmm.
and somehow left, and maybe there's a few of them left, but were they there as slaves, and the other energies had enslaved them, and then some of them died on the trip? Or, like, I got, they were there at the beginning, the Dracos, and
Hmm.
then there were only a few left, so they either jumped ship or got eliminated on the trip or journey, but I couldn't figure it out. And why would that be? And but it wasn't full of Dracos. It's
No.
another kind of being, but Dracos were involved.
Yeah. So there's two layers of Three Eye Atlas that I see. One of them is the white hat NASA introduction to ETs basically existing. So whatever they're doing, it isn't really real. It's like theater. However, there is a being. named Atlas, who is an enormous soul, and his divine partner was Atlantis, who was
Mm.
the soul that basically held space for the city Atlantis. And he's going through a massive healing process. So they're kind of piggybacking on that energy. Now, he had a lot of demons, a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, a lot of really like feeling shattered because his divine partner was shattered when that city exploded. And the beings, which are very similar to the being that you saw, so those beings have been controlling the Draco
Mm.
and the reptilian race and the tall grays, which were humanoid gone wrong, basically.
Mm.
So they've been really in control of those three things, along with archons and some of the other ET races. Now, those are pretty much gone, just like you said,
Mm.
and they're not being controlled anymore by those beings because those beings were so traumatized that they wouldn't stay. So they ended up basically like if you believe in God or if you believe in source, they were dispersed back into source. So they don't have an identity anymore and they're pure energy again because they chose to traumatize all their lifetimes
Mm.
and to basically play with humanity as a toy. And humanity is their own soul group. So yes, there were a lot of negative things that Atlas had to resolve because he has codes for us that are going to come back in, like original codes
Mm.
from before Atlantis was destroyed that will help humanity become more and more aware of who we really are. So there's a lot of stuff happening with Three Eye Atlas.
Wow.
Yeah,
That does layer it up.
yeah.
Why do you think they call it three eye atlas? Like, why do you think the three eye part, the third
Third
eye?
eye.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's been really traumatized. He's the one who created the ice age on Earth
Mm.
through his trauma, like almost like, I don't know, like imagine, your divine partner is shattered and you can't even communicate with them anymore. And it's like half of you is destroyed. And the pain of that is what caused the ice age.
Mm.
So this was a really big being. And he is also related to the being that we call Earth. So Earth has a soul, and that soul is related to Atlas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we can get into what shape is Earth?
Yeah. I know. I think
That
we'll
might be
find
for
out,
another show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole nother chat.
That's a whole nother show. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the shape of Earth I've always gotten was a toroidal field. But
Yeah. Me
that's
too.
her shape.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely an energy, like when I channel Earth.
Hmm.
And it does feel feminine and it has a real powerful energy that like the strength card comes to mind.
Yeah.
uh, she's been through so much.
Oh, more than most beings have gone through because she chose to allow the third density to be on her body, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Scratching away, making a mess all over,
Hmm.
and sometimes
Exactly.
beautifying. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a wound.
Mm.
So she's been cleaning that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to tap into? Should we tap into something for the collective?
Yes.
Like, yeah,
I think we
okay.
need it. We all need it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What
Yeah.
should we tap into? Do you have anything that you has been coming up for you in the comments?
Mm. Well, there's been a lot of really, really negative physical ailment, sort of, or physical conditions going around.
Mm-hmm.
Jean-Claude's been talking about it. I've been talking about it. We haven't been sleeping. Lots of people in the comments are agreeing, but it's way beyond not sleeping. It's like not feeling at ease,
Right.
and not like a dis-ease. Okay, it's not that far, but it's not ease. So it feels like a very uncomfortable transition period. What are you getting around that?
Let's ask your cards if it's Three Eye Atlas beginning to deliver the codes and it's making our body really uncomfortable.
So that's the very beginning of something. So the codes would make sense to that.
Mm-hmm.
And upgrading maybe physically, so we can receive something maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a spiritual something. So the upgrades look spiritual to our advantage, but the physical body self has to prepare. And I feel like that's the part that's so uncomfortable, like you said, and
Mm-hmm.
like we've been feeling. It's absolutely discomfort. But when I read on, okay, am I okay? Is my health failing or something? No, this is all getting you prepared, and I would agree with what you said there.
Yeah.
That's what I've been getting about it, but
It's like
it's
a
good.
purge.
Yeah, it's good to have somebody looking into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had a lot of purges. And I remember when I first received that we would have like the solar flash all in one day. And then the timelines shifted, and I was like so annoyed that it wasn't going to happen fast. And now I'm so grateful that it's not happened so fast because I don't think our bodies could have handled it, to be
Mhm.
honest. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we've
Like
really
the
done
birth,
pretty good.
like the birth, right? It's like um, the oven door opens. That's one way they describe getting prepared to birth, right? The oven door opens and it's hot, and
Yeah.
you'll go in so far, and then it slams shut again, and then opens up in a few more seconds or minutes, depending. And then it's hotter, and you go in further, and it's all preparing. It's like we're being prepared, we're being marinated, we're being
Hmm.
like, yeah, that does
Yeah.
work. That works. And humans have to do it that way because this physical body takes time to adjust, right?
It really does because it's basically an organic computer and it's been programmed by everything around us and everything like that we perceive and put into our subconscious. That's why I don't want to watch horror movies. That's why there's certain things I won't put into my brain because I don't want to carry that around.
Yeah. That's a good. I'm gonna have to think more about that because I still really enjoy a good The Walking Dead and stuff like that.
My husband
And
does too. He loves them.
yeah, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
work on that because it's a bit of a sort of guilty pleasure of mine. But I see what you're saying, and that's a good point. I'm probably
Mhm.
holding myself back a little with those kind of junk junk viewing. Yeah.
If you start and you're like, this is totally fake, and I'm just gonna allow myself to watch it. And if you plant that seed first, then I don't think it's as big of a deal. It's when we just allow, because the subconscious doesn't know what's true and what's not. So it just takes everything as truth. And
Mhm.
that's been quite a thing for us as humans because we've allowed all this information in and believed that a lot of things were real or a lot of things are fake when it's all been inverted.
Mhm.
So the real things have been shown as the fake things,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we're turning it all right side up.
we are.
That's the painful part, right?
It is. And that's the purge part too.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have all these ideas or all these stresses, then you may get yourself really sick. You may
Mhm.
have a flu-like reaction, and it might only last for a day, or it
Mhm.
may last longer if you're not letting go. It's like throwing out the trash.
Mm.
Don't hoard all that old stuff that you don't need anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's good. This was really fun.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
So thank you so much. I just love this. And we're going to put these out once a month. So subscribe to our email list below,
Mhm.
and we'll let you know when they're coming. And subscribe to Janine's channel and my channel. And we're just so excited to do these for you guys once a month. And we love to hear what you're thinking about in the
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah. Let us know and
Yeah.
we'll bring it up. Good.
Thank you, Janine. This was great.
Thanks, honey. Exciting.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.